Welcome to Shootin' It Straight with Stan. I am your host, the lovable Stan the Annuity Man, America's annuity agent, licensed in all 50 states because I like paying all of those fees to each specific state. Not really, but I do. Today's topic is a very good one. It's called Annuities for a 9-year-old. Now, I made my PR team leave that topic and leave that title in place because I know there's like grandfathers and people out there going, well, I got a 9-year-old. I'm gonna check that out. That's Stan the Annuity Man. See if there's something for my 9-year-old son, J-Rod, right? My grandson, excuse me. It's not my son. My son's called Jay. My grandson's named J-Rod. Anyway, but it's not about that. It can be about that, and we can talk about in a future podcast buying annuities for youngsters as a legacy, but that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is the annuity industry is suffocating people with complex products. And they aren't explaining the complex products. They're just giving the 30,000-foot view at a really good food seminar that they serve really nice food to at, and you can go eat for free. And then all of a sudden, they're going to be on top of you, setting an appointment, talking about the greatest thing ever. And as I've always said, if it sounds too good to be true, it is every single time without exception with annuities. But there's 2 or 3 different types of annuities out there that are so complex and so convoluted and have so many rules and so many mathematical formulas, you literally have to go to MIT or Caltech to understand them with a lot of them. And there's no way some of the agents on those postcards that I'm getting in the mail that come talk about the economy and interest rates and inflation, and then all of a sudden they're going to slam an annuity and jam an annuity down your throat. That's complex. That needs to stop. It would stop immediately if all annuity product types, and yes, there's more than just one annuity out there. I hate all annuities. I also hate all trucks, and I hate all record stores, and I hate all restaurants. I hate all socks and shoes, and I hate all coats. It's that stupid. I hate all annuities. Give me a break. And if you're going to put your foot in the ground on that one, Chester, and just say, let me tell you something, Stan, I'll defend that till I die, and I'll punch you in your hat, in your throat, and write on the Annuity Man logo if you don't stop it. Then my answer to you is, then call the Social Security Department and cancel Social Security, because that's the best inflation annuity on the planet, period. But I want the annuity, if this all would be solved if the annuity industry, all product types would have the same level of commission. If all product types had a low commission built in, it would, I'm not saying it would force, but it would almost force most agents and advisors to recommend what's actually right for the client, what actually is in their best interest and suitable and appropriate. Instead of one size fits all, I'm going to learn one product. And if I sell enough of it, I'm going to go to Bora Bora for free with my wife, girlfriend, and or boyfriend, whatever applies, or all of them. I'm going to go if I sell enough of this. One size fits all, square peg in a round hole. That's how I'm going to sell it. And that's a lot of what's going on out there. And if that's been pitched to you, you know what I'm talking about. It's like chum in the water, man. It's throwing bloody fish in the water, and all of a sudden the sharks show up. And what drives me crazy, and I don't want this to be you ever, but if it's happened, call me. We'll look at what you bought. But a lot of people say, Stan, I bought this. I really don't know what I own. What? Come again? Stan, yeah, I bought this. I was kind of pressured. It sounded good on the surface, upfront bonuses and these great returns if you'd owned it, 10 years ago or whatever. And I bought it. Can you explain it to me? Not really. That's all I know about it. Really? That's the reason I say if you can't explain it to a 9-year-old, don't buy it. No offense to 9-year-olds. Every single annuity type that you're considering, you should be able to walk into. Is 9-year-old second grade? I think it's second grade, third grade. Let's just say it's second grade. I don't know. You walk into the second grade class and the teacher goes, uh, boys and girls, and whoever identifies as that, we have a special guest today. It's Mr. Johnson. He wants to run something by you before he buys something from an investment standpoint. It's an annuity, and he wants to explain it to see if you understand it. And then after that, he's going to buy everyone cookies. And Mr. Johnson gets up there and explains it. And if Mr. Johnson or you can't explain it to that second grade class and them nod their heads and get it, then you shouldn't buy it. It's really that simple. You should be able to say to them, I'm buying a lifetime income stream, meaning that the annuity company, this annuity company is going to pay me for life, like a salary for life. You're talking to the 9-year-old. And it's going to pay me as long as I'm alive, as long as I'm breathing. The little kid raised a, even if you're in the hospital? Yes, even if I'm in the hospital. And the kid in the back goes, how about if you're on a respirator? That kid. Yes, even then, as long as I'm breathing, it's going to pay. We call it a pension. So this is going to pay you as long as you're breathing. Yes. And then the smart little girl in the front goes, but how do they determine what they're going to pay you, sir? Good question. And you're going to be a leader someday, as Mr. Johnson says to her. And you say, well, it's the older I am, the more they're going to pay me because they don't think I'm going to live that long. The second grade class in unison will be like, got it. Where's our cookies? Seriously. That's lifetime income to second graders. That's lifetime income to a 9-year-old or a group of 9-year-olds. And then you go to them and say, well, I'm considering this fixed rate annuity. It's called a multi-year guarantee annuity. But here's how it works, kids. I give the money to the annuity company. And because they're holding on to that money, they're going to reward me and give me back a little bit more money. So if I give them, you can say 100,000, kids will be like, huh? But they're going to pay me a percentage. And then the teacher goes, this is a good time for us to all learn, girls and boys. So she goes on the board and talks about, remember when we were talking about percentages the other day in math, in our math class, that we're only allowed to do one time per year? Remember that? And so she goes through that and shows them, and every kid in there, all second graders, would be like, yeah, I understand that. You're getting a percentage on that money, like Mrs. Persanamy, that's her name. I don't know where that came from. The teacher, Miss Persanamy, she taught us that, and they're going to pay that. And then the little girl in the front goes, but how long are they going to do that for, sir? How long? They can't do that forever. That's a very good point. And you're hired, and you're going to be an intern, even if you're a second grader. And you go, that's a good point, Eloise. But I love Eloise, right? Anyway, that's a good point. But they're only going to do that for a specific period of time. You can lock it in for a year or 2 years or 5 years or 7 years. She goes, oh, okay, I understand that. And then of course her friend, Eloise has a friend named Phoebe, and Phoebe says, but what if rates go up after you bought it? And then Mr. Johnson says, well, you're right. That could happen, but I've locked in for that specific period of time. At that point in time, the whole second grade class goes, yay, we got it. We don't want cookies this time. We want ice cream. You have to be able to understand what you're buying, and you have to be able to go into a second grade class and explain it to them. Period. End of story. Now think about some of the pitches you've heard, which is upfront bonuses and market upside with no downside and all that stuff. Try explaining that. Try explaining that formula. Just try explaining upfront bonuses to a group of second graders. They'd be the most skeptical kids. You'd say, okay, I'm going to buy this, but for buying it, they're going to give me a 20%. They're just going to give me 20% of what I put in. Well, Eloise and Phoebe at the same time will raise their hands and goes, that doesn't make any sense. How can they do that as a company? How is that real? That's what, and then the kid in the back, kind of jerk that raised his hand, the last time he'd be like, well, they just can. That's just what they're doing. No, wrong answer, kid in the back. Start exercising, lose some weight, because Phoebe and Eloise know what they're talking about. How do they do that? Well, they do that because 100 pennies in the dollar. They got to take something else away to make up for it. And it's not real money of which you can walk away with. So the next time you hear a sales pitch, say, can I go into a second grade class and explain it to them? Or better yet, don't let your spouse watch this. Can I explain it to my spouse or my family or my friends? If you cannot do that, if you're at the 30,000-foot level trying to talk about all these shiny things that's been presented to you, but you can't really explain the shiny things, and you can't explain how those shiny things work and how they actually, within the policy make sense, then do not buy it. It's really that simple. So annuities for a 9-year-old? Nah, not really. There are some specific situations that you can do a joint lifetime income stream. I call this the legacy income monster, where the grandfather buys a joint lifetime income policy with his 5-year-old great grandson. We've done those, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, annuities for a 9-year-old, is you better be able to explain it to a 9-year-old. And you're going to have Eloise and Phoebe in the front, those two girls that are 9 years old, that are sharp, and they're not going to buy BS. They're not going to buy it. They want to know how it works, why it works, when it works, should it work, can it work, is it a lie, or is it the truth? And that's exactly how you should be as well. Now, wasn't that fun? And that was all off the cuff. I can't remember the teacher's name that I came up with, but it was pretty good. But Phoebe and Eloise, those two girls were in class with you when you were in school. You know exactly who they were. I mean, they were in my class. I was in the back. I was that kid. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was actually. Listen, that was fun. That was Shooting It Straight with Stan. I am Stan, the Annuity Man. I'll see you next time.